April? Yeah. Justin? Hello, Ann.
All right, we're on the record.
Good. The meeting will come to order. Council agenda, Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, Township Council agenda meeting of December 5th, 2017.
Posting of notice. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided in accordance with the requirements of the Open Public Meetings Law by filing the notice in the office of the Township Clerk and by posting the meeting notice on the bulletin board of the Municipal Building on December 21st, 2016, where it has remained posted since that date. A legal notice appeared in the Daily Record on December 27, 2016, and the Newark Star Ledger on December 27, 2016, and was forwarded by fax out of the local newspapers and local radio stations on December 21, 2016. Council meetings are videotaped and aired on Cablevision Public Access Channel 21 at 11 o'clock a.m. on Sundays and are also available for viewing at www.parsippany.net.
Great. Can everyone please rise for the flag salute? Mr. DePiero?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Khalid, roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Here.
Mr. DePiero?
Here.
Ms. Grignani?
Present.
Mr. Peluso?
Present.
Mr. Valori?
Present.
Also in attendance are Business Administrator Ellen Sandman, CFO Ann Cucci, Township Attorney Justin Marquetta, and the Township Clerk Colette Madden. The Mayor is also going to be in attendance, I believe, and Mr. President, we have a quorum. You may begin.
Thank you. Upcoming meetings, December 19th, 2017. That will be at 7:30 p.m. That will be our regular meeting. The following will be January 2nd, 2018. That will be at 7:30 p.m. There's a typo there. That will be the reorg and agenda meeting. Approval of the minutes.
Minutes will follow at the December 19th meeting.
Great, thank you. We're going to move on to presentations and reports. Mayor's not here. Township Attorney.
No report, Mr. Vice President.
Great. Can you give me the update on the Captain Carriffy lawsuit that's going on, the Carriffy 2?
My firm is preparing a transition memo for the new administration and the new council. We expect that to be ready in the next day or so, and that will be a detailed memo on all three of the Carriffy cases.
And that will go to the administration?
To the yes, to the administration and the incoming council.
Okay. Is that memo going to be available to the public?
The memo will not be available to the public outright. The council, of course, has the discretion to make it public, as the council is the client. So if it wishes to make the document public, it may by an affirmative vote.
Okay, so that memo could be made public. I guess you would have to modify it to be public.
There would be a public version made that would omit certain confidential information.
Okay, all right. So what I suggest with everything going on, so everyone's available to review it for transition, for the transition team and along with transparency, I just like to make a motion in order to make that memo for those lawsuits to be available to the public. I just need a second on that.
That's a pending lawsuit. You're going to make that available to the public?
And unfortunately, you're conflicted out.
I know I am. But I think the mayor should be more worried about,
Okay.
instead of trying to go out the door swinging, he should be more worried about looking for a job. I did hear that Dunkin' Donuts is accepting applications, so maybe he should be more worried about that than something like this. But, you go ahead.
Mr. Carriffy.
That's not like
It's true, though, Loretta. We know it. It's true.
Mr. Carriffy, all we're doing is making the document public.
Go ahead. You can do what
So
you
I'd like
want.
to make a motion to make this
That's why
document
the mayor
public.
called you in his office just now, right, Mr. Valori?
Mr.
I'm surprised
Carriffy-
you didn't have that meeting on a Sunday night.
Let me ask you a question.
Surprised you didn't have the meeting on Sunday night.
Mr. Carriffy,
We know those have
keep
happened,
your
haven't they?
composure of what's going on here. Please, you're embarrassing yourself.
I'm not embarrassing
I'd like
myself,
to make
Mr.
a
Valori.
motion to make this document public. Do I have a second here?
Let me just ask a question first, if I may. Justin, there is pending litigation on this issue.
Yes.
Should it be made public when it's pending litigation?
The public version of the memo will omit the confidential and privileged information that's germane to the litigation itself. The portion that will be made public would be a factual recitation and items that are available in public court filings that are otherwise already available to the public. So it's public information, it's just summarized in one place.
Has the town ever done that before with any other lawsuits? No.
I can't think of one off the top of my head, no.
Okay. So it's never been done before.
Do I have a second on the motion? It's on the floor.
All right, I'll second the motion.
Okay. Do a roll call.
Before we have a roll call, I have a question. Justin, the information that you are going to be presenting, or your firm will be presenting, may we see that before, or that's not germane to the issue right now?
You may see it prior, however, the motion may want to be amended that the council review it before the public version is created.
Okay, only because we've had several residents come up periodically asking for transparency, and this, I think, would be a good way for the residents to read what is going on. You hear this, you hear that, and to have it written and to have it given out to them for OPRD or any other way, I think would be good for the township. So I will be voting yes.
Well, we haven't had the roll call yet, so
Sorry.
Okay.
we have a motion made by Councilmember Valori. We have a second by Councilmember DePiero. We're going to go for a roll call vote. Mr. Carriffy,
Abstain.
Mr. DePiero,
Yes.
Ms. Grignani,
Yes.
Mr. Peluso,
Abstain.
and Mr. Valori.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Business Administrator?
I was not present at the last council meeting, and there were some questions with regard to the capital ordinance for the radio system. First off, I would like to congratulate the council for working with the administration and with all our professionals to look for the future, and the future is for us to be in control of our own destiny. Questions were raised as to going into the county in the short term. Would this allow this ordinance cover the $165,000 as well as the $200 per radio? It does not. However, we have had additional meetings. As you may recall, this is not a stagnant and has not been a stagnant issue. It has been a very volatile issue in the concerns of volatile in the sense of everybody caring about let's get this done and get it done properly, efficiently, for the saving of lives and also to protect and make sure that our members are protected and have clear communications. As you also may recall, we were all set to move forward with the county, and then the state of New Jersey reached out to us and said, you're going to the 700 system. We have the 700 system. You can purchase certain radios ahead of time through the capital ordinance. You'll be ahead of the game. We were all set to go with that, and then very early in November, the chief of police as well as the point person, Captain Wieners, came into my office, and the mayor was present and said that the state of New Jersey has pulled back on allowing us to go with them based on some documentation and some information that they received from the two individuals that run the center at the county. So that being said, we have reached out numerous times, both the existing administration as well as the incoming administration, to see if there was any movement on that. The answer came back a resounding no. So therefore, we also had met because we wanted to dual track it. Both mayors were involved with working together on this most serious agenda item or serious matter. I can tell you that now that it has been cleared, we are pursuing the county with a grant. A grant granting us to come aboard. We also worked out the fact that there is no sufficient funding and certainly in this budget, but they said that they would work with us, and we agreed to the fact that when we do pay the $165,000, it would be towards the end of next year, so that we could work it into the budget and spread it over a period of time. They were acceptable to that. The other thing is there is the matter of the amount of radios. We are all going to do our due diligence to get sufficient amount of radios paid for by the 200. However, one of the things we will do is we won't, it's not pie in the sky. It's not everybody and their brother and a radio. It's what's necessary to do the thing sufficiently but safely. So that's another cost. But I said to Mayor-elect when he asked the question, what did I think of? I said, if the town couldn't come up with $20,000, Houston, we have a problem. So we would have to go forward, possibly putting some money up front in the end of this year. Out of one budget and going into the next. But we will be working on that. I met with Jay Wieners today. He was at a class on Monday, but I met with him later this evening, and we are set to go down to the county and get the documentation together. So that's where we are with that. If I can answer questions at that point if you would like me to do so. But
The county's not 700 megahertz, are they?
No, they're not. But when you
So
have this...
whatever we buy to interface with the county, we'll have to duplicate again when we go to the state later.
The one thing that we came to terms with, because everybody was trying to pull to try to think how we could possibly use some of the ordinance ahead of time, is there are certain radios that are very expensive, but we could charge them into the, and I'm talking a minimal amount of radios, 10 to 20 radios, that we could utilize the existing ordinance that would help us to talk better to the county and be ready and up and ready to go. But that being said, there are other things that we talked about that we need to be doing our due diligence, because we're talking about an 18-month period to be ready for the 700 system. In the meantime, while we have the ordinance, and again, I appreciate that, the lead time will be to get our licenses, to get everything in place. So, we will be dual tracking. Yes, Mike, it's not the nirvana that we thought we had. We thought we would be using and utilizing the state, but the state has resoundingly said no to, I asked both Mayor elect and the present mayor to speak to their counterparts, and there was no movement from the state.
What about the dispatcher issue?
That was my question.
We are diligently working on that. We have, without getting into deep into the personnel, we have now been vetting and hiring the people that have had experience with either volunteer fire, police.
Didn't the county require that we use their dispatchers and not our own?
We still
Wasn't
need
that
our
one of the
dispatchers.
reasons we didn't want to go to them?
One of the things that you need to wrap your head around is the police department will be still using the 400 system, and they'll be staying with us. When the police are not going to the county.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Yeah, and you know what? This is not an easy topic. This has been, very involved. And in my spare time, I've come up to terms with this. So, which there is none. But I wanted to again. I apologize. My sister had a friend and a cruise, and the friend canceled. So she asked me to come on the cruise. So I couldn't miss the Cayman Islands and Jamaica. So, but I was in radio contact as soon as I landed on an island.
We could have moved the meeting to there.
Ellen, will you use the same frequency when you're on the island, or
That's
what?
right. Yeah, I wish I had that capability. Again, in all due candor, this is a serious matter. It's been something that administration has been addressing with the powers that be, and also with the districts and first aid people and the rest of it. So although it's not the ideal, I think where the ideal will come in is that we will be in control and destiny. If the state of New Jersey is concerned about shared service, we certainly will be well equipped to entertain maybe a Booton or a Mountain Lakes or others that will be in our area and somewhat augment the cost. But let's get ours ready and set and go. And I will say this: I wish I had knowledge of what I had 6 months ago, 2 years ago, because we would be on the radio system, as God is my judge. So I I hit the pavement as soon as I could, and with a lot of good help and workers. On another note, if there's no other questions with regard to that, UPS keeps on giving. You might have recalled you passed a difference of but based on documentation from our consultant with regard to hookup charges. So we just received a check for over $890,000 for both water and sewer hookup from UPS, and they didn't blink. I got a call from Ben, who's the big mucky muck guy, and I said, well, when you got the temporary CO, it was one number, but it did get raised, but when you paid it when the document had passed. And he says, we're not quibbling. We're happy to be in, I almost said Denville. We're happy to be in Parsippany. And, the administration has worked, full out on all levels, from construction to engineering to everyone. From the smallest to the top, now we're talking about. We talked at one time there was to be 800 six-figure jobs. We're talking about close to 1,000. Mike, you were there with me at the grand opening. The place is beautiful. It's top of the line, and in all due respect, when you think about it, there will be not one package coming out of there, so there won't be a traffic issue. Besides, it'll just be 1,000 additional workers that will be working in Parsippany, bringing home a very good salary.
They're all
and
IT.
all IT people.
High-tech people. It was amazing. From the day we had the groundbreaking to the day we had the ribbon cutting was 1 year.
Yeah.
They completed that building in 1 year.
Impressive, yeah.
They also had a little bit of pressure, Michael. If they didn't do it in 1 year, they would have lost a $40,000 grant from the state of New Jersey. So that's why we were all pulling.
40 million.
I mean, 40 million. I said 40,000?
Yeah.
Let me add another couple of zeros there. Thank you. $40 million.
That's the incentive, yeah.
That was the incentive, too, when we negotiated the pilot. I said, hey, folks, you've got the timetable. We don't. So that's when I was, I played college for a while there as the clerk as well as the administrator. But that's the good news. I mean, I wanted to share the good news on some of the things. So that's one of them. And
Alan, I just want to add that on Saturday, they actually, UPS opened up their doors to the American Red Cross, and they were packaging well packages for the holidays for our veterans and our troops. So, I really was impressed that they were actually involved with the community as well, and they were good corporate citizens. So it was
yeah,
very nice to see
I'm
that.
glad you mentioned that, because we got the whole. No pun intended. We got the whole package when we got UPS. So, and that's both the giving on the community level as well as financial.
And Ben was there
stability.
as well, and he relayed to the entire council that UPS appreciate the efforts of the council in approving the pilot program.
Yep.
That actually permitted them to be there. So
Absolutely.
that was great.
And again, it was. It's the most unique pilot that that was ever negotiated, and we're happy that we all played a part in that, and so that's all I got.
Ellen?
Yeah.
I don't want to boost your ego up too much here, but I didn't know that you were on a trip when we had all these individuals here asking the questions about the new communication system that we're trying to do. But I want to thank you for all your efforts. I wish you were there, because you're definitely the guru working with the fire commissioners and the
Police
fire
department,
chiefs, with everybody.
first aid.
I know you put a lot of effort into it. I could not be on the same level as you trying to explain it, but you did a wonderful job. Thank you. Keep up.
No,
the
I
good
know.
work,
I
and
know.
thank
There's
you.
people here that are concerned. I went right over to District 2 and gave them the Reader's Digest version. Again, we can all say certain things could have been done quicker, better, faster, but we're human, and but I think in the end, the best for Parsippany will happen by its people, by its residents, by those that are affected in the dead of night, dead of winter, when the call goes out. We want to make sure they are safe, our people are safe. As I said when we introduced it, I cannot live with having someone on the second floor when we're trying to get in touch with a firefighter and say the building's going to collapse, and all they hear is, and that not on our watch, gentlemen, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ellen. Thank you very much. All right, Ann,
Not very exciting compared to
come on
that.
now. Give us good news here.
We're having a note sale, small note sale, 1.6 million on December 14th. That's for the emergency payouts. We do it every year. It's for the balance
Okay.
That's left, 1.6 million, and all it does is reduce how much has to be taken out or reserved from fund balance. It's just an accounting thing, but that's happening.
Okay.
And also Booton Court moved over to Parsippany October 10th, and we started billing them today. They're going to pay that, and they also brought over their detector, I guess it is, metal detector. So that's already operational, so we should get about $40-some-odd thousand from that before the end of the year.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Great.
Do you want me to talk
yeah,
about?
you
Okay,
just need
I
to
have to
address
talk about something else.
Okay.
Okay.
Not in detail, just in.
I'm sorry?
Not in detail, just the time.
Just, okay, we, at your places, we just received yesterday the quotes for our property and I guess all those kind of insurances, and we were waiting because we went out to bid every 3 years.
Okay.
We joined the GIFs, but because it was up, they went out to different markets, including Munich, one Beacon, Chubb, Brit, and also 2 different GIFs. But the 2 GIFs were very close when we met in terms of price. We've had a very good experience with Garden State Municipal GIF. So they went back and renegotiate and negotiated a better price. So the price that you're going to see, and you'll see it on the 19th because we just got it yesterday, is about $19,000 difference. But the good news is that we have a savings next year of $84,000 for all the package. It's the property, public officials, all those kind of things. So we left you the package in there to take a look to see the quote, but on the second tab, I believe, we'll give you the summary. If you have any questions, we can get into some more detail on that, but I just want to put that out there. On the resolutions is there in title, but it just says GIF. It will say which GIF, and we believe we're going back to Garden State Municipal GIF. Okay, so that title will change, and you will also get a memo explaining what we did, similar to the memos you got for the other, you received for the other insurances.
Stop loss and all that.
Yeah, the stop that you got for stop loss insurance, etc.
Okay.
Right. I just, for clarity's sake, and I had the discussion with one council individual, but just for the record, because the 3-year contract was up, our then risk manager had to negotiate going forward. This document at this level, what you just received, is about for January 1st to be ready to go with which GIF we go with. It doesn't have any documentation in this document that you got anything to do with who the risk manager is, or and with all the other insurances. There's no named broker, and that's why we wanted to have that short synopsis to make sure you understood that right now this is for documents that need to be in place on January 1st.
Okay.
Yeah, strictly for the GIF, for the joint insurance, the actual insurance. Nothing else is going to be here, but it has to be in place by the 1st. Remembering that, like the other insurances, back in September, early September, we began the process of getting ready to do these quotes. So just so you know, this is the end product of this that will be in place on 1/1.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll move on to our township clerk.
No report at this time, Council President.
Okay, to our council members, any committee reports?
Yes, Council President.
Okay.
This past year, I have been the liaison to the Parsippany Daycare Center. We had a meeting last night, and Director Peggy Rauscher and the board president, Gordon Meth, have indicated that there will be a very small surplus this year. To operate this facility, it costs $1 million, and most of the income comes from the state. 75% comes from the state. The rest of the 25% is paid by full-time families, which there are only 19, and then also the township supplies a small amount of money. But the center has worked very hard in upgrading the heating system The facility is painted. It is an environment that is very conducive to the young children. They have children there from several months old to 5 years of age. So to hear that things are working very well, and Peggy and Gordon have done a very good job in bringing this small surplus, but a surplus, needless to say. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate all your efforts, too. Thank you. Paul, anything?
No.
Rob?
No.
Okay, Mike?
No.
Okay, move on to the engineering report. Paul?
Manor Lake Dam construction activity is progressing. The actual dam construction is about 90% complete, and about 20% of the dredging has been completed. No council action required. FEMA hazard mitigation grant project reimbursements from FEMA have been received, and we continue to submit for the remaining reimbursements through the end of the year. In the last month, reimbursement requests of $266,078 and $1,439,604 have been submitted. The latter has been approved, and we are waiting for the wire transfer. No council action required. Lake Parsippany Road improvements, Phase 5 project. The project is substantially complete, and only minor punch lists still remain to be completed. No council action required. 2017 road resurfacing project. The milling and resurfacing of various streets throughout the township is substantially complete. Punch list items including pavement striping will be completed in the next few weeks. No council action required.
Thank you. Moving on to bids to be taken. November 9, 2017, new lateral launch sewer televising equipment system or approved equivalent for the sewer utility. November 22, 2017, new valve maintenance trailer or approved equivalent for the water department. November 28, 2017, column repair of the secondary sludge thickener wing wastewater treatment plant to be taking. December 13th, 2017, operation of pro shops and provision of golf, professional, and related services at Knoll Country Club. Quotations, proposals, qualifications, none. We're going to move on to the public hearing portion. I'd like to entertain a motion to open up the public hearing.
Motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, second by Mr. Karifi. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Floor is open to the public.
Great. If there's anybody for the public like to come forward, please come forward. Okay, I see no one else would like to come forward. That's a first. I'd like to entertain a motion to close the public hearing.
Make a motion.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Floor is closed.
Okay, we're going to move on to the ordinances here. Statuses of adopted ordinances. If you could take a look. If you have any questions, concerns. Ordinance 2017:24. We have ordinance 2017:25. Take a moment to read over when it was adopted. Mayor's action, along with the effective date. All right, Mike, at the bottom of the page, introduction. Ordinance 2017:27.
Ordinance 2017:27. An ordinance of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, Morris County, New Jersey, amending and revising Chapter 124, Construction Codes, Uniform, Section 124-5, Fees, and A 445 Fees, Compilation, Sections A 445-7, Building and Construction Fees of the Code of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills held on December 5, 2017, and that said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on December 19, 2017, at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time, or as soon thereafter as the matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, second by Mr. Paluso. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Ordinance
Hold on for 1 second, Paul. In regards to, we have a question about that. Sorry about that, Paul.
Thank you, Council President. Regarding ordinance 2017:28, excuse me, I'm losing my voice. As a clarification, the copy of the ordinance that was distributed with the agenda contains a minimum bid price that is actually at odds with other appraisals that exist on the property. The administration has expressed a desire to obtain a third-party appraisal to reconcile the numbers, and assuming that that could be done within the timeline to actually publish the ordinance in time for the regular meeting, then the revised copy of the ordinance will be published and made available to the public.
Okay. And when would you actually reach out to someone to do the appraisal? Would be
This
tomorrow?
week.
Okay.
It would have
Please.
to be this week.
So are we reading this then, or are we taking?
You guys can read it, but please be advised, if we don't get the appraisal in time of the publication, you're going to have issues with regards to passing this ordinance. I just need to put that on the record.
It will have to be pulled then.
Should we wait then? Should we
Yeah,
wait until
I have some. I still
get
have
the
some
appraisal?
reservations. As late as today, this evening, I did get a call from one of the people that would be somebody eligible from the attorney who represents that person. I have some real serious reservations, and I think the dichotomy between the lowest bid and the highest bid, it's very disconcerting to me. And
So we have one extreme to the other, from a low bid to a high bid in appraisal.
Yes.
Okay.
What we do have, though, is a document which we can provide for the entire council. Is that we have our assessor did and I made sure, because this has been a long time. One of the appraisals, it dates back to November of 2016. So I have a lot of concerns about this document and then going forward with this. However, that being said, our assessor had come with a number that seemed to be a much more reasonable number based on the nature of the property. I am not an appraiser, and I'm not an assessor. However, I am an administrator, and I just wanted to voice my opinion, and this is a rare time for me to do that. I just need to go on record as saying that.
That's fine. Yeah.
So procedurally, are we tabling this? Are we going to pass it pending?
To answer Councilman Karifi's question, in order to properly introduce, hold public hearing, publish notice, and adopt an ordinance, you need at least 10 days between the introduction and the public hearing.
Okay.
Timeline-wise, if you did not introduce by title tonight, it would have to wait until
Next year.
the next council takes office. So it's
then
up to
what-
the council as to what they would
So,
like to do.
How does
we
everybody
would be
feel?
approving this in title only, and the blank number for the proper appraisal will be filled in later.
Right, and that appraisal, just to be clear, it's to set a minimum bid price. This is property to be bid by adjoining property owners. It's to set the minimum bid price. It's not the value you're going to get for the property. It's just the floor.
So it's open to the public to bid on it. So
Well, the adjoining property
Okay.
owners, not the public at large.
okay. In regards to council members, it's up to you if you want to move forward it or if you want to table it.
Well, let's move forward with it.
Okay.
Otherwise, we have to wait till next year.
Okay. I'm fine. All right. So based on that, we're just going to have, obviously,
Right.
you're going to move forward with the
I'm not comfortable
reach out to the
with it.
appraiser then.
I'm not comfortable.
Yes, I'll work with administration to reach out to the appraiser, and you can proceed by title only as
Okay,
is
so by
reflected
title
in
only.
your agenda.
Okay. All right.
Go ahead and read
So-
the whole thing.
Go,
Justin?
Yeah.
Go ahead and read the whole thing.
Yeah,
You got to read. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, ordinance 2017:28, an ordinance of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of certain real property identified as Block 98, Lot 48, located along Park Road. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, held on December 5th, 2017. That said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on December 19th, 2017, 7:30 p.m. prevailing time, or as soon thereafter as the matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve resolution.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. Karifi, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Karifi?
Abstain.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Not having all the information, I abstain.
And Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Okay, the motion passes.
Rob?
Okay. We have
Before you go on, I have to say something because I just feel the need that I have to. Unless there's enough information and it's garnered, there's a lot more to this than just going out to bid and getting another appraisal. I just need to, we need to have more dialogue on this and prior to the 19th because I'm very, very uncomfortable with this. So I just want to state it for the record.
Okay.
And, you know, I just
Why
need
didn't you
to.
say
And
that
I am
before
as
we
well.
voted?
Yeah,
I did, Michael.
I am as well.
Okay,
You still have an opportunity when you see what it comes back at and you get more information to.
Okay, so what we'll do is you provide us with the information. You're going to get the appraiser. Obviously, we'll get together collectively, and then it goes up to vote. If it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass. It's as easy as that. That's why we have a board here. So we'll get more of the information then.
Thank you very much.
Okay, fine.
This is rare for me to do this, but it's my conscience and my soul right now, and I have serious reservations.
Okay. And in that packet there, you have the engineering report too, correct? Just so what's in the report.
Yes, that was provided to the clerk.
Okay. So you have the engineering report, and then you have the township assessor's report in there also, correct?
The assessor's report is not the first appraisal that supported the number that's actually in the draft ordinance
Right.
is in there. However, we're going out for a third party to reconcile the differences.
Okay.
For clarity, you'll have
you will have that.
you'll have both appraisals.
Okay.
That you'll have both appraisals.
Yeah.
Plus, you need to see Danny's document.
Yes.
He's a very good assessor,
Okay.
and you'll have it.
All right, so tomorrow we're all going to collectively get to work on this to get it. Okay. All right, and then we'll move forward. If it doesn't pass, it doesn't pass. Or if there's question concerns, we'll correct it. All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Rob?
Ordinance 2017:29, an ordinance of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, accepting dedication of a portion of Block 136, Lot 44, as shown in the official tax map of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills for the roadway purposes from Morris Corporate Center 6 LLC. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced and read by title and passed on first reading at the meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills on December 5th, 2017. And that said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on December 19th, 2017 at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time, or as soon thereafter as the matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise an ordinance and the notice of introduction therefore being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mrs. Grignani?
An ordinance of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, accepting an easement from Morris Corporate Center 6, LLC, on a portion of Block 136, Lot 44, as shown on the official tax map of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills for public access and sanitary sewer maintenance and ownership. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills held on December the 5th, 2017, and that said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on December the 19th, 2017 at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time, or as soon thereafter as the matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second. Motion made by Mrs. Grignani, second by Mr. Carriffy. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mike?
Ordinance 2017:31, an ordinance of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of Morris, State of New Jersey, accepting an easement from BT Property LLC on a portion of Block 136, Lot 43.3, as shown on the official tax map of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills for public access and sanitary sewer maintenance and ownership. Be it resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills held on December 5th, 2017, and that said ordinance be further considered for a second reading and final passage at a meeting to be held on December 19th, 2017, at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time, or as soon thereafter as the matter may be reached at the municipal building in said township, at which time all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Rob?
Ordinance number 2017:32. An ordinance of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, County of Morris, and State of New Jersey, authorizing the sale of certain real property identified as Block 14, Lot 12-01 on the official tax map of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills to Parsippany-Troy Hills Fire District Number 1. Be resolved that the above ordinance be introduced, read by title, and passed on first reading at a meeting of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills held on December 5th, 2017, and that said ordinance be further considered for second reading and final passage at the meeting to be held on December 19th, 2017 at 7:30 p.m. prevailing time or as soon thereafter as the matter can be reached at the municipal building in the said township, in which all persons interested shall be given an opportunity to be heard concerning the said ordinance. Be it further resolved that the clerk be authorized and directed to advertise the said ordinance with the notice of introduction thereof being published in the official newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the above resolution.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Second reading and public hearing. Paul?
Ordinance 2017:26, an ordinance of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, the County of Morris, New Jersey, authorizing the acquisition by purchase of an easement over certain property identified as Block 421, Lot 48. The notice for the ordinance above was published in the Daily Record, the official newspaper of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, on November 15th, 2017. This ordinance was introduced at the November 9th, 2017 regular meeting. Motion to accept that ordinance 2017:26 be heard in its second and final reading by title only. Motion made by myself.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mr. DePiero. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
At this time, entertain a motion to open up a public hearing on this ordinance and this ordinance only.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mr. Paluso. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Floor is open to the public for this ordinance only.
Anybody from the public like to come forward? I see that there's none. Paul?
See no one come forward, make a motion to close the public hearing for this ordinance.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion
Whereas the
passes.
above ordinance was read in title on second reading and a hearing held thereon, now therefore be it resolved that said ordinance be passed on final reading and that notice of this final passage of said ordinance be published in the newspaper according to law. Motion to approve the resolution made by myself.
Second by Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. Carriffy, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Non-consent agenda. Loretta?
Resolution 2017-160. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills, authorizing award of a contract to CMS Construction Incorporated for column repair, secondary sludge thickening wing wastewater treatment plant.
Wow.
They gave you the good one.
Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mrs. Grignani, second by Mr. DePiero. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Mike?
Resolution 2017-161. Resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills awarding a contract to EnviroSite for new lateral launch sewer televising system or approved equivalent for the sewer utility. Motion to approve the resolution above.
Second, Grignani.
Motion made by Mr. DePiero, second by Mrs. Grignani. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Rob?
Resolution 2017-162, resolution of the Township Council of the Township of Parsippany-Troy Hills authorizing award of a contract to AP Certified Testing, LLC, for the new valve maintenance trailer or approved equivalent for the Water Department. Motion to approve the resolution.
Second.
Motion made by Mr. Paluso, second by Mr. Carriffy. Roll call.
Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
Yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Moving on to consent agenda, the resolutions. Anybody have any questions, concerns? Have an application there also. I see that there's none. We move on to adjournment. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
I don't,
You want to make a motion?
Oh, no.
we needed to make a motion to approve all these.
No, that's only...
No,
That's
no.
an agenda meeting.
That's
No.
an agenda meeting.
Oh,
That's okay. Are you good to adjourn?
So who made the motion? Who seconded the motion to adjourn?
Miss-
Paul.
Yeah, and then be Mr. DePiero.
Paul, Mr. DePiero, Mike. Okay, Mr. Carriffy?
Yes.
Mr. DePiero?
yes.
Ms. Grignani?
Yes.
Mr. Paluso?
Yes.
Mr. Valori?
Yes.
We're adjourned. Have a good night, everybody.
Everyone have a good night.
Good night.
Thank you. Drive safe.